In the closing years of the 19th century, the world was on the cusp of an industrial explosion. Trains were cutting through continents and steel skyscrapers were piercing the clouds, but the sky itself remained an untamed frontier. To the scientific establishment, human flight was a fool's errand. Enter two brothers from Dayton, Ohio, Wilbur and Orville Wright. They didn't have college degrees, corporate funding, or government backing. They ran a small bicycle shop, spending their days repairing chains and aligning wheels. They were mechanics, practical problem solvers, but their lives were completely upended in the blistering late summer of 1896. A sudden invisible killer entered their home. Orville, just 25 years old, contracted typhoid fever. Within days, his temperature soared to a lethal 105 degrees. Delirious and drifting in and out of consciousness, Orville lay dying in an upstairs bedroom. In 1896, typhoid was a ruthless executioner. The family braced for the worst. But behind this crisis was a hidden turning point. It came in the form of absolute brotherly devotion. For days and nights on end, Wilbur never left Orville's bedside. He changed freezing ice packs, bathed his brother's burning forehead, and watched over his breathing. Weeks passed, and the crisis finally broke. Orville survived, but his body was shattered. He was confined to bed for nearly a month, weak, restless, and forbidden from doing any physical work. The busy bicycle shop downstairs had to wait. To keep his brother's mind occupied during the long recovery, Wilbur began reading aloud to him, but he didn't read fiction or poetry. He brought home the latest scientific papers on aeronautics. At the center of their reading was the work of Otto Lilienthal, a brilliant German aviation pioneer. Known as the Glider King, Lilienthal had flown hundreds of times, bringing humanity closer to the birds than anyone before him. But just days before Orville fell ill, disaster struck. Lilienthal's glider stalled in midair and plunged 50 feet to the ground. His spine was crushed. His final words were, "Sacrifices must be made." Lying there in the quiet Ohio bedroom, the Wright brothers didn't see a tragedy. They saw a problem to be solved. If Lilienthal was a genius, why had he lost control? How do you keep a flying machine balanced when the wind turns hostile? A life-threatening fever had done what nothing else could. It forced two relentlessly busy minds to stop. In that stillness, their bicycle business faded into the background, and a shared obsession took its place. As soon as Orville could stand, they began studying the flight of birds, noticing how they angled their wings to maintain balance in the air. They realized flight wasn't primarily about engine power, it was about control. They took the principles they knew from bicycles, balance, momentum, and tension, and applied them to the sky. They built a wind tunnel in their shop and tested hundreds of miniature wing designs. 7 years of experimentation followed, failure, engineering setbacks, endless iteration, but they never wavered. Then, on a freezing, windswept beach in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, they rolled out their final machine. Orville, the same man who had nearly died from a primitive biological disease, lay flat on the wing. He pulled the lever, the engine roared, and for 12 glorious seconds, humanity achieved something it had dreamed of for millennia. A biological setback became the unexpected catalyst for one of history's greatest breakthroughs. Behind every hit and every miss is a decision. Quick question before we continue. Before this video, did you know that the invention of the airplane was connected to a case of typhoid fever? If you did, you're exactly the kind of history nerd this channel is built for. Don't forget to subscribe.